So, hi everyone. My name is Layla, and Yixuan, as some of you dare to try for Dutch people. And so, as was said briefly, I am originally from China, and I lived in the States for about 6 years, and I studied psychology and communication for my undergraduates, and for my master, I studied computer science. So I'm really interested in user-centric designs and also how technologies can impact human behaviors. So that's why I am going to talk about WeChat and Chinese tourism today. And how I came about this topic is actually one day I was just go about doing my thing. One of my friends on WeChat, she approached me and she said one of her friends is working for a tourist company and trying to promote international traveling and all sorts of things. And what they want from me is that they will send me to a archery class and dinner on a boat and all these kind of stuff. And what I have to do is to take some pictures and post on my moments, just saying this is a wonderful experience and you guys should try it. So I was really surprised. I was like, okay, nice for me. And they're just saying, well, you know, it seems like you probably have some friends who are willing to try this kind of stuff. So I said, okay, that's what really got me thinking about WeChat and like the Chinese tourist. So I think, you know, here's one thing all of us are really familiar with, at least I hope so, is that by a show of hand, how many people here use WeChat? So yeah, almost everyone, right? And do you guys know who this guy is? Anyone? Messi, right. I was so scared that nobody knows who he is. I guess that's not going to happen. And so he is one of the most famous football players in the world right now. And WeChat hired him, I think, last year to be the ambassador to promote the South African and the South American continent asked for WeChat. So, you know, Messi is using it, so everybody should. And also this might be a theme that people are familiar with, at least I will be one of them when I travel. So the Chinese tourists, you know, always nice to see them in front of the Eiffel Tower with their selfie stick and taking pictures, then going to the Chanel and Louis Vuittons buying all the bags. So here's the thing, WeChat, like Ed said, we are all using it. Everybody here is using it. If we look at the numbers, there are 1.3 billion people in China, and there's 1.1 billion registered accounts on WeChat. The monthly active users are probably around 600 million users, but registered accounts, that includes other public accounts that companies and brands can use them to kind of promote to their users, their subscriptions and service accounts that companies can register. And how much we use it is that the stats shows people on average use it about 40 minutes per day, and 55% of the adults say they open the app at least 10 times per day. What it means is that on average, people only go to the toilet about 6 times per day. And there's the stats showing that average Americans, adults, read about 20 minutes per day. So we use WeChat more than we go to the toilet or read than, I don't know, average Americans. So, and who are the users of WeChat? Is that 86% of them are about 16 to 36 years old. That's the early adopters who are very innovative when it comes to technologies, are willing to try new things. And the other part of the puzzle is what I'm going to talk about is the WeChat and how that kind of impacts the tourist industry. And that's a big topic to talk about, so we can just take one example. The National Day Golden Week that happened 2 months ago in China, that's 7 days. And in those 7 days, there are 750 million trips being taken both domestically and internationally, just by Chinese people. And what it can happen is that we travel, then we spend a lot of money. And in those 7 days, Chinese people spent 1.1 trillion Chinese yuan just on shopping alone, not including all the other travel expenses. And it's hard to imagine this number, but to quantify it, that's the GDP of Kuwait in 2014. So what Chinese people did is in 7 days, they made that much money. And also what it can happen due to, a lot of stuff can happen during that period of time. In Xiamen, one of the most famous tourist destinations is Hulangyue. So usually the ferry that travels from the mainland of Xiamen to the ferry to the island costs about 8 kuai, which is €2. Then during that 7 days, the Golden Week period, that fetched up to 250 kuais. And that's just one of the hypes about being traveling. And then here comes the catch. What did WeChat do? Or what are all the brands are doing, companies are doing on WeChat to capture all these tourists? Because we travel so much, we spend all these monies, and there are definitely opportunities there. And I'm just going to give you guys 5 examples. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more the brands are doing out there. Let's just imagine this scenario. You're going off, you're going to travel, and what happens when Chinese people travel in China is there are people everywhere. And 7 days before the launch of, before the Golden Week, WeChat launched a new service. It's the urban heat maps. And what they can do is that to show a waterfall of, you can see here, is that how many people have been to all these touristy destinations like the Tiananmen Square or the West Lakes. So you can track it either by day or by week, like hourly. You can see how many people are there. So it creates urban heat maps for people to know when to visit the parks. And then you can also use WeChat Pavement to buy your tickets online through WeChat. And a week before they launched this, the tickets to all the attractions that's participating in this urban heat maps, the ticket sales increased by 20%. And it's obviously very helpful for people. It's very convenient for people who are traveling as well. But how WeChat is doing this? Well, Tencent obviously is not going to tell us, but by the large amount of people that are using that, I think they're just using their users to track where all the users are and create the heat maps just based on the large amount of users that they have. So this is just, I think, Tencent's use of big data, and they might just be a first step, and there's a lot more to come because there's so many users of WeChat. And another scenario may be that you booked your ticket, you're going off, you're going to travel, and here you go to the airport, and there's a long line. We're all been there. And one thing you can do using WeChat is that a lot of the airlines now offers you the option to check in through WeChat and select your seat, and you have the e-boarding pass. So when you're at the airport, you don't have to do anything. You basically go through the security and you're on board. So to cut the lines and cut a lot of the times. So this is something that's also have been very useful and popular. And now we have everything. We know where all the people are, and we already checked in. Let's go somewhere, perhaps in the States. And so, where in the States would you want to go? Anyone?
New York.
New York, yeah, to see the Statue of Liberty, and what else? Where else in the States? Disneyland.
For kids.
For your kids, yeah, that's awesome.
Where do the Chinese like to go?
Yeah, where the Chinese like to go. Las Vegas! Yeah, you hit the jackpot. Let's go to Las Vegas. Here's another thing that one of the hotels in Las Vegas did, is that the Link Hotel of Caesar Entertainment. What they did is that they collaborated with WeChat. So once all the Chinese tourism, once they're in the hotel, they can scan a QR code through WeChat, and then you will turn your app into a remote control for the room. You can dim your lights, you can order room service, and you can lock the door. You can do basically anything you want to do through the app. So it's very convenient for us, for people who are not using WeChat. Sucks for them, I guess. And then, so this is just one thing that WeChat is doing, but also, if you don't like Las Vegas, we can go somewhere else, like Japan. So what do you guys want to do when you're in Japan? Shopping, yes, that's the Chinese talking.
Yeah.
And So one of the most popular Japanese department store is Daimaru. They are the biggest in Japan, and they recently started collaborating with WeChat as well. So now when Chinese people, when they shop at Daimaru across Japan in the department stores, they can pay by WeChat as well. So this is one of the WeChat's ambitions to go global, I think. And also collaborating with not only domestic partners, but also global partners. And when people travel, they can still use the WeChat payment. And another thing is that, you know, you're just traveling and you already follow a bunch of public accounts on WeChat. And perhaps you're just thinking, oh, okay, I'm in Hangzhou and I really want to have some afternoon tea. And I already follow Hyatt Hotel. Let's just find a Hyatt Hotel nearby. And you don't have to use Google or Baidu. You can just do that in WeChat, because they have the location-based service. They track where you are. That's the nice little thing popping up every time you install app. Do you allow them to track you even when you're not using the app? You should always say yes, because this when it comes in handy. So you can, there's the little button that you can click and send your location to that public account. Then real time, you get a list of the hotels and, well, any stores that's actually close to you. So you can even use their map to navigate you, so you don't actually need Google Maps or Baidu Maps if you're in China. So this is also something that's really, really nice. And it just seems like we talked about a lot about WeChat. We can go Dutch on WeChat, and we can send hongbao, we can do so many things on WeChat. It just seems like there's no challenge, but that's not true. There's actually some challenges. Even for WeChat users, for WeChat himself, and for the brands and companies who are trying to expand their business and attract users on WeChat, there are a lot of challenges we're facing. One of them, I think, is the penetrations and consistencies. Because, see, for Chinese people, when we're in China, we can do a lot of things with WeChat. We can call a taxi, we can pay our utility bills. But when we're traveling, it's not the same. So the penetration is not there. When we go to Japan, we can only pay with WeChat in Daimaru, but now we will go to some other department stores. So for users, it's not actually a consistent experience. And paying by your mobile is not actually much easier than paying by a card. So the experience is not there yet. So they really need to for WeChat, they need to expand their partnerships and kind of penetrate the market even more. And for the users, that creates a more consistent experience, so people use it more. And the other challenge, I think, that a lot of the companies facing on WeChat is to grab the user attentions. So I think for companies, the way to their business model on WeChat is one from content to commerce. So, like my friends, when they ask me, well, to post all these nice experiences and pictures on WeChat Moment, then hopefully people will read my moments and come and look for these companies online and find their experience. So that's content to commerce. And for a lot of companies that's opening public accounts on WeChat, that's the same. They have a nice thing set up in the tab structures. You can link to your online shops, or you can provide a booking number or email address for people to contact you and book your hotels or book a room or do anything like that. But then it's very hard, because there's studies showing that people who are actually reading on WeChat, no matter how many accounts you follow, you basically read about 5 articles per day. So they can follow you, but the open rate is still very low. Your content is not getting to the customers. So it's really about grabbing the user attentions. And I worked for a social media marketing company before. We worked with a lot of big brands like Jimmy Choo and Four Seasons Hotels, and we did a lot of WeChat campaigns for them as well. And one thing that we did for Four Seasons Hotel is that we kind of customized a quiz, a pop-up quiz in the app, and when users click on it, you can kind of make it more interesting to do a quiz, like, oh, so which city are you? And people love to share that kind of stuff on moments. So you do a quiz, about 10 questions, and then we'll tell you if you share this results on moments, then there's a possibility you will win a free night stay in Four Seasons in the city you have chosen. Then that campaign worked out quite well, because we gained a lot of readership and new followers. That's just one way to grab the user attention. And there's a lot of other companies that are doing WeChat kind of campaigns. But that's also one of the challenges that many companies are facing. If you don't have the budget to do these kind of large-scale campaigns and to build customized WeChat modules, then it's a bit hard to grab the user attentions. But I also think there's opportunities for marketers, even when they're not large companies that will automatically just have 1 million followers on WeChat. One thing is to gain a lot of user insights. So imagine a scenario we talked about before. Users are using the location-based service to find where your store is. And you know they already sent your location, they're interested in going to your stores. What you can do to actually make them go offline to your store is that perhaps sending them a coupon that if you visit, then you have this coupon for 20% off the products you purchase. And once they use that, you can also keep track of their experience by sending them a nice survey afterwards. So perhaps 2 or 3 hours later, sending them a nice survey asking, well, are you happy with the service and what we can do to improve? So that's a real-time interactive user insights you can gain from using WeChat. And also, the opportunity here for all the marketers and brands are WeChat is really going global. They're now saying they're available in 20 languages and also in 200 countries. But majority of them are still Chinese using it abroad. But still, they opened an office in San Francisco in 2013. And they're trying to penetrate the US market. And also, I think last year they were really hitting in India. That has become like the second largest market besides China. So I think because WeChat already have this idea to going global, and it's not really just about Chinese tourism, because once they go global, it's an app that's different from WhatsApp, because it's not just voice messaging, and it's very different from Facebook as well, because it's an all-in-one system and it's more accessible. So for people, for marketers, once we already know a lot about WeChat and they go global, then we have more advantages than other advertisers and other marketers on Facebook. And also, I think one other thing we wouldn't cover here, but it's a nice thing to think about, is that there's one, because we know Weibo is really big, like 5 years ago, and everyone is on Weibo. It seems like it's taking off. But once people start using it for more media and commercial purposes, then the Chinese government comes in. There's a lot of surveillance and censorship. And now there's more than 600 people working Weibo in-house just for the censorship. And WeChat is not trying to they're trying to avoid the fate of Weibo. So they're not really using it for media purposes. So they're really focusing on their entertainment and utility functions. So that's one of the things for brands and companies when they're trying to get on it. WeChat are actually not really focusing on that media propaganda part. That's the part they're trying to avoid, because they don't want that kind of censorship, and that can also impeach the freedom of speech. So that's also I think that's a nice thing to think about, and I'd love to hear you guys, your ideas about your thought on WeChat and its future with tourism. Thank you.